Hey everybody, welcome back to Pickin with Pops, and I'm Pops. First, before I tell you what we're going to do this week, I just want to take time to say thank you. I really appreciate all the comments, all the views, and all the subscribers, and that really matters, and I do really appreciate it. This week, as you see, we're going to do another gun video. Y'all seem to be liking the gun videos, and we run across some guns. So that's what we're going to do this week. All right, what we have is somebody's... No, I ain't going to say that. What we have is a redneck sniper rifle. What we have this week for a project is this. It is a Glenfield Model 60. It's manufactured by Marlin. It's a 1977 model. Marlin made all the Glenfields, and the way they were, if you find a Glenfield, is practically a Marlin. The Glenfields were a little cheaper, and they were sold to big box stores. So they were sold at a little cheaper price than a Marlin. But all of the actions and all is the very same, interchangeable. It's the same gun, but just manufactured under a Glenfield name. As you see here, I don't know what somebody was thinking. We run across this gun, got it for a good price. It's got a tripod on the end. It's got a 9x40 scope on it. And somebody did this wild camo over the whole thing. Barrel, wood, all of it. And I don't know why somebody put a butt pad on a 22 to keep from hurting their shoulder. I don't know what kind of 22s they were shooting, but I've never shot any that I needed a butt pad with. So we're going to check it all out. This is all brand new to us. We don't know anything about the gun. We don't know what's under that butt pad. We don't know anything. So we're going to find out together. Let's get at it. All right, the first thing we're going to do is disassemble it and see what we're working with. The scope is real clear. We did notice that, and it seemed to be working really well. And these little Glenfields, Marlins too, have the rail that you can mount a scope to, so that's pretty nice. And somebody removed all the iron sights, so it's a good thing we got a scope to go back. All right, I'm gonna take this tripod off, and then we'll get it in our gun vise. Maybe we will. Now, before we put it in our gun vise, let's see what's under this butt pad. Ooh. I see why they put the butt pad on it. The end plate's missing. So, we'll have to do something about that. And we'll start checking it out and see what we got. This one may need a little extra encouragement. You poor thing, we're gonna see if we can make something out of you. Bless your heart. Boy. Well, we got that off. Check out that camo work. And they didn't stop. They camoed the tube, the barrel, receiver, every piece of it has been camoed. Get this tube out of it. All right, feed tube and the barrel. I'm going to see about cleaning it up and not taking the barrel plumb out of it, but we may. All right. Well, we got something to start with now. All right, let's see what's under this camo job. They camoed inside and everything. All right, we'll give it a little time, see what we got. We got the first layer off. Now we're gonna let it sit a little while longer, see if we can get some more off. All right, let's see what it done this time. We're finally gonna get it. Well, we can see why they painted it. Somebody got mad and hit it against a tree or something. It has a crack, runs all the way down the stock, and it's cracked here as well. So this gun has definitely been abused. Also, I see, looked like somebody drove nails in it. 3 on this side and 2 on that side. So we're gonna try to make all that right. Be a good warning to anybody that's buying guns that's been painted. They're always hiding something. I really like restoring guns, and I've never one time got a gun that was painted and got the paint off and said, boy, that gun's beautiful. It's always damaged. Now like this one had 5 or 6 layers of paint on it. I mean, it's thick. So just as we thought, it's been damaged. But we can fix it. Take time and fix it, make a nice gun again with it. I'm just rubbing it down with lacquer thinner, trying to get much of this old stuff off of it before we go any further. Let's see what we have. Give you a look. See that crack there? Then there's the nails on that side and nails on this side as well. Cracked here and here. So we're gonna fix it without the camo paint. All right, we got the stock down to where we can sand it and start doing some wood repair on it. Now I'm gonna see what we can do with this barrel. I've got a little thinner. I'm just gonna rub it. I don't know if it'll do anything to take it off, but we're just gonna see. Like that lacquer thinner's cutting it. Glenfield Model 60. The Marlin Firearm Company, North Haven, Connecticut, it says. That's what's left of the iron sights. Since we got a scope and this we decided to put iron sights back on it, we got that out of our way. Now we're going to try to get this off the tube. And like the rest of it, it's thick. All right, I've used a strip ease to try to get all this camo paint off. The paint come off. Apparently, I don't know what they were thinking with this gun, but they have sanded on it and everything. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna rub a little lacquer thinner over it all and then clean that off. And then I'm gonna use this birchwood blue remover and see what that'll do. So that's what we're gonna do next. All right, we've got all the paint off of it, and boy was it thick. So I said earlier, they painted everything. They have covered up a lot of damage. So we got all that off. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to start working on, we'll start with the tube and then we'll do the barrel. Also, the receivers on these guns, I'll get it up here where you can see it. The receivers on these guns is not a blued finish. It was a baked on finish. Now we don't have the means to do the baking, so we're probably gonna repaint that with a high temp paint and bring it back close to the original as we possibly can. So we're gonna see what we can do now. All right, the first thing we're gonna use is this birchwood blue and rust remover. So we're gonna use it first and get the rest of the blue off, hopefully, that we can here. I've used her products in the past. They're usually really good, so we'll see what it can do with this old girl. We'll start putting it on here. going to sand it a little bit. Make sure I get all the blue off I can. All right, now that we followed the procedure on stripping the rest of the blue off, now we're going to rinse it off with cold water before we do the bluing. All right, now we're going to put on the cleaner and degreaser. All right, now we rinse with cold water, they say. All right, now we're going to try the barrel. All right, we did the cold blue. Now what we'll do is we'll oil it and let it sit overnight, and we'll see what we have. Ready? That looks a lot better than spray paint. Now we'll let this sit overnight and see what we have. All right, while we got the barrel drying, we're going to move on to our stock. The stock has a lot of damage, and that's why they were painting it. Of course, we got issues at the butt, but it's cracked in several places, all down through here. The good thing about a 22, there's no recoil. So, and this is not cracked all the way through. I'm looking on the inside. It just has some surface cracks here. But this is a big crack, and somebody has drove a nail in there to try to get them to hold it together. So I'm gonna take it out. We're gonna glue it together properly. the wood, and then I put some filler in it, and they were whole, but they won't be noticeable. I removed the one, they had one in the knot correctly, and it was sticking up through the barrel, and I got it out. The other ones are in really good, but they didn't recess them. So I recessed them, and I fill these holes up. All right, I've recessed the ones that was sticking out real far, and I pulled out the other ones. And as I showed you, this thing's cracked, but they did some gluing apparently before they put them 14 gallons of paint on it. But I'm gonna cut down in all these cracks, and I'm gonna make us some filler and for it to hold better and look better. So I'm gonna work on that now. I'm cutting this down, and I'm gonna make, it's an old trick, but you take some of your sawdust and mix it with wood glue, and it makes a putty and a sealant that comes more near matching whatever kind of wood you're working on. So we're gonna try that and see how that works. As I said, they did something to here. They put some kind of glue in it, but it's sure got a rugged crack. I'm gonna see what I can do to make it look a little better and make it hold better as well. And what we'll try to do is we'll try to get that glue sawdust mixture down in this crack. That'll help seal it. I'm gonna do the same thing up here where it's got these fine cracks. As I said, I'm not worried too much about these cracks because there's no recoil on a 22. But I want them to look better if I can. And I also want it to hold better. If this was a high-powered rifle, of course I would do it totally different. I mean, even if it comes to making a stock to replace this one. But I have cut sections out and reinforced it and made new ones, so we'll see how this works. I don't know what they done with this rifle before we found it, but I can't figure out if they were splitting wood with it or what. But it's sure been abused. I'll show you what I'm working on. See that crack? I've made those cracks deeper. The one on the bottom. My hope is I'm going to push that glue and that homemade putty in there to make it look better. And also I'm going to fill these holes with it. So, we got this started the same way, and this buttstock, we're going to have to do something there as well. I'm going to make a buttstock to go on it. Right. I've got a butt plate that I'm making out of this, and it's rough as can be. But we need something to replace it with, so we're going to try to make one out of this. see if I'm getting close. Let's see. That's going to be about right. Looks like. Of course, I got to fill in that piece at the bottom where it's broken. That's going to look a lot better, I think, than just a raw butt. Now we'll smooth her out a little bit. Just the inside. Can you see the contour in it? You know, just like any buttstock, it's got that for you to place your shoulder in, so. And it's rough, but we'll make it look better. You know what? I think we're about getting there. Let me show you. Not too bad, huh? Let's see where we're at here. Okay. See, when I get that bottom piece fixed there, get an idea on this side a little better. Swap ends. Not too bad. Alrighty. Now what we'll do is we'll drill a hole and countersink it, put some screws in. But we got that good enough for right now. Now we're going to try to smooth out this old rough stock. See if we can bring something back to it. All this sawdust that I'm getting from this sandpaper, I'm going to save it, and that's what I'm going to make my crack filler with. If I don't get it all in my eye or up my nose. I'm just using 220. I'm not wanting to take a whole bunch off. I don't want to cut grooves in there. Those things already had a hard enough life. Okay, now we're going to get our little butt plate and we're going to put our holes in there and our place for our screws, and that way we can work it all at the same time. Do a little shaping. That sure looks better than that old rubber pad. Sure a lot better than what he had for sure. Looks a lot better to me. Now, this part here really bothers me. I hope I got enough sawdust to fill it up. See that end I'm trying to fill? That's going to take a lot of stuff in there. I've got enough dust to do my crack, but I'm worried about having enough dust to do the build that end up. All right, well, we saved much of our dust as we could, but I'm worried about filling this piece at the end of the buttstock. I know we got plenty to do the cracks with. I think what I'll do is I'll start off with the cracks and I'll do the rest of it in the buttstock. I can use some putty. I have some putty here. And I may mix a little glue with it and try it, but we'll just see what happens. Now pushing that down in that little trough I cut. And I'll have to sand back over it some. I'll never make that crack where you won't be able to see it, but I can make it a lot less noticeable maybe. And I'll definitely give it some more strength. Okay. I know it looks rough now, but it's sure better than a hole. I'll sand it and make it, shape it the way it needs to go. Now we're going to let that dry, and then we'll shape it and see what we got. All right. You know, we're saying the receiver was powder coated. We don't have a way to powder coat. I'm just trying to make this old gun look better. But I do have some high performance enamel paint. So I'm gonna paint it with that. We'll see how it does. We'll let it dry and see how it does. Well, hey everybody. Well, at Pop's shop, just like your shop, sometimes all your plans don't work out. The homemade sealer that we made was very rubbery, and I'm afraid that our stain won't stick to it. So I've got another way I'm gonna try it. First, I gotta get all this old homemade filler out. Just like I did the first time, I'm going back down this crack that's sealed perfectly, but I don't think my stain will fit in there, will stick to it. So we're gonna take it out and put some other in. I don't know what caused that to be rubbery this time, but it did. So we're gonna fix that up. All right, got it all out of there. Because I want the finish to match as best as I can get it. All right, I'm gonna try to get the dust and stuff off of it a little bit. Just in the areas we're gonna treat and try to prepare these cracks. Because I'll have to sand it some more. All right, this stuff is sandable and it starts out pink and dries to a natural color. That's a lot taller than I want it, and that's fine because we're going to sand it off. Well, we'll let it dry and see what it does. All right. The new compound we put on looks good, and we're going to see how it does. That's looking pretty good. I'm going to put the Danish oil to it to finish it, so I'll need somewhere to hold it. Just make sure all of our cracks and stuff is all sealed up and looks nice. to get our dust up. And I need to get all the dust off this gun. So I'll have to do that with a real damp cloth. I don't want to get the wood soaking wet, but I also need a little bit of that moisture to pull the dust up. We're pretty close. All right. We've got it all cleaned up, and I think we're ready to try to put the finish on it. Now what we're going to use for finish is stuff called Danish oil. It stains, it seals, it protects, it will not crack, chip, or peel, and it gives it a hand rubbed look. What this does, it soaks down into the wood, and with that, it's got a stain in it, but it's got some other stuff in there too that really helps, you know, that seals the wood. And that's what we want to do. We want this gun to last and be something that somebody's proud to use. So the way this works, you can either put it on with a rag or with a brush. Cover the wood, keep it good and wet the whole time. As you do it, get it all covered. You don't want to pour it on and just, because it makes dark spots. If you get one big glob somewhere, it's going to be darker there. But we'll probably use several coats. But what we'll do is we'll start here and we'll put a coat on. After you get it on and get it good and even, leave it wet for a little while, then you wipe it off. Then you do it again, until you achieve the color you want. So we're going to try that. This stuff is really thin, and you want a good coat all the way across on all of it. So I'm gonna kind of go fast and get it all covered one time. But I was trying to think, it seals also as it stains. It's got a little polyurethane type stuff in there. It's really good stuff. It's a little messy, and it's kind of overwhelming when you first use it, because it's very, very thin, and it's easy to think, man, I'm making a mess, but it's a lot harder to mess it up than you think. You just don't ever want it to dry on there until you're completely finished. Want the whole piece wet. You have to be careful, and I've got gloves on. Not so much that I mind getting it on me, I just don't want big old fingerprints in it. I'm gonna turn this over right here. Just keep doing it. And like everything else, I'll have it all over me before I'm through, I'm sure. That's okay. And you can see this stuff, I mean, it's immediately sucking up into that wood. And the reason you have to hurry is because it's sucking it up so fast that the whole piece will dry before you're ready for it to, and that'll cause you color differentiations. So I'm just trying to get it all over it. Said you can do the same thing with a rag and just rub it in. The first coat, anyway, I like to put it on with a brush. It's sloppy as can be, but I think you get a better coverage at first go around anyway. Now, it's good and wet all over. Kind of look back, see if you missed anything, especially on this first coat. All right, I don't see anywhere I missed as of yet. Now, like I said, you just don't want this to dry on here. Not till you're finished. So we got a pretty good little coat going on. Put a little bit more on this end down here. Want that end to look good. It's all good down there. Now. Okay. Like I say, I usually wait about 15 minutes between coats. This old brush is not real good. You want one that the bristles are not coming out of, and this one, they are a little, so I'll have to watch it as we go. Like I said, I'm just rubbing it off. That's certainly not bad for the first coat. Now, hold in here, rub this off. What I like about this, you can see the grains of the wood. Get it all, just don't want any runs or nothing. I'm gonna set me a timer for 15 minutes and I'm gonna put on another coat. I want a dark finish, and this is not a, this comes in different colors and stuff, and this is a walnut here. And it's supposed to be their dark walnut, but it's not very dark. So it'll take several times. As I said, it's soaking into the wood, which is a good thing, because that gives that wood a lot of protection. Every time it gets a little darker. And the key, you have to wait 15 minutes between applications. If you don't, it gets real sticky. So, get that all wiped off good. No runs or anything. We're going to start us another timer for 15 minutes. And do it again. And I'll keep doing this until I achieve the color I want. When we get that color, we'll go over it with a real light sandpaper while it's wet, wipe it off, and put one more coat on it. All right, well, you've seen us trying to do the Danish oil on it. Now, one thing, and I'll just tell you up front, this gun had been abused to pieces. You know, I showed you how it was split plumb in two, it was broke up all over. It'd been painted with about 14 coats of paint. It stained the wood. It was just bad shape. And I never could make it look like I wanted to, you know, like it was going to be like it was when it was bought. So I thought, what would we do? Well, now it's smooth as a baby's butt, but I went with this weathered look. The reason I went with this weathered look is because it would take your eye off some of the imperfections. You know, it's still a cool gun. You don't see many like this one with this kind of tone to it, but it'll look good for the gun, I felt like. And it was the best finish we could come up with this. Now, to get this tone, after y'all see me doing the Danish oil on it, there was just so many bad places, chemical stains and things from the paint, that all the sand in the world wouldn't get off. So I thought, how am I gonna make this where it's more appealing? Well, I went in my stain cabinet and I found this, and it's a real dark, it's a Spanish oak. And I went all over it with the Spanish oak. I went over it, let it set, I wiped it down, I put another coat on, I sanded it in and wiped it off again. Now, then it made it all dark. Well, that wasn't what I wanted either. So then I got this Sherwood stain and went over it another time. I went over it, sanded it in, just like you do every time. And then I come up with this, a light, a dark, a weathered look. It looks a lot better than that camo look, but that way it doesn't, your eye's not on the damage anywhere. Of course, we did make the butt plate. We repaired the stock where it was split in two. We repaired the cracks here. And so it's solid as can be, and it's smooth. But I wanted this weathered look simply because that was the best that we could achieve with this from all of the staining deep down in the wood. So I think it looked pretty good. And we're going to put it together and see what it looks like all together. I got a lot of fingerprints and stuff on it just from handling it, but you know, we reblued the barrel. It looks real good, and we painted the receiver there. I think it turned out really well. Looks good all over, a lot better than that old camo look. So we got that all fixed up. And then of course our trigger guard, it had to be repainted and redone, and we did and oiled it, and it's ready to go and looks a lot better. So we're going to assemble it and show you everything that we're doing together. All right, we're going to put the scope back on it. I think we're going to need to leave this redneck bipod off of it. All right. Let's see where that is to my eye before I... Oh, that's perfect. Okay. All right. Well, we went from a camo'd out, abused Glenfield to a lot better looking refurbished Glenfield. Think it turned out well. I'm looking forward to shooting it. Nice old gun now. I'd like to take time, just tell y'all thank you. Thank you for tuning in and watching Pickin with Pops as we do these videos. And you know, I'm by no means a gunsmith. I'm not an expert any kind of way, but I enjoy guns. And I'm trying to do something that you can sit down with your kids, your brother, your uncle, your sister, whatever, and refurbish some of the old guns that you find on Picks, or maybe you have in your closet somewhere. It's a lot of fun. Me and my son has did it his entire life, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoy doing it. Well, we took an old beat up gun that was abused and was about forgot about, and I was ashamed to anybody see me with it. Now we got a weathered looking gun, smooth as a baby's butt, and I would go out squirrel hunting with it tomorrow. So that's what we do. Something that you can keep and enjoy and just have fun. Well, y'all, that's it for this one. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. All that stuff matters, and I really appreciate it. I try to answer every comment that I get. So if you got any questions, any comments, anything, shoot them out to me. I'll be glad to answer it. Happy picking. See you on the next one.